Mother Teresa, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize and one of the most influential figures in modern history, has inspired millions of people around the world. But who was he really? Was he a saint or a devil? Many have long wondered, but few know the truth. In this video, we reveal 10 surprising facts about Mother Teresa that you probably didn't know. From her controversial beliefs to her humanitarian work, these facts will help you understand the real Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was born in Skopje, Macedonia. Agnes Gonjaboyaju was born on August 26, 1910 in Skopje, Macedonia. Her parents were of Albanian descent and were Roman Catholic. She grew up in a very religious home and was taught to love and respect all people regardless of their background or religion. At the age of 18, she left home and joined the Sisters of Loreto, an Irish order of nuns who worked as missionaries in India. In 1931, she took her religious vows and changed her name to Sister Teresa. She went to India and began her work with the poor and destitute in Calcutta. She founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950, which soon became a worldwide movement dedicated to helping those in need. In 1979, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work with the poor. In 2016, she was canonized as a saint by Pope Francis. Today, there are over 4,500 missionaries of charity around the world, carrying on her legacy of love and compassion for those in need. Her parents were of Albanian descent. Mother Teresa was born Agnes Gonjaboyaju in 1910 to Albanian parents in Skopje, now the capital of Macedonia. Her father was a building contractor and her mother was a homemaker. Although they were not wealthy, they were devout Roman Catholics and instilled strong religious values in their children. Agnes was the youngest of 3 children, and her siblings often called her by her pet name, Nashi. She attended an all-girls school run by Catholic nuns and had a deep faith that was strengthened by her family and schooling. This faith would later lead her to join the Sisters of Loreto, a Catholic order of missionary nuns. Her parents' Albanian heritage was an important part of Mother Teresa's life. She often credited them for inspiring her to work for the poor and underserved, which she did as part of her mission to follow Christ. She also valued Albanian culture and frequently visited her homeland throughout her lifetime. Her real name was Agnes Gonjaboyaju. Mother Teresa, born Agnes Gonjaboyaju in Skopje, Macedonia on August 26, 1910, was of Albanian descent. She left home at the age of 18 to join the Sisters of Loreto and take her religious vows, changing her name to Sister Teresa. In 1931 she began her missionary work in India, and in 1946 experienced what she called the call within the call, a calling from God that prompted her to serve the poorest of the poor. In 1950, Mother Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity, a religious congregation devoted to serving the poor. With over 4,500 members working around the world today, they are still dedicated to providing food, shelter, medical care and spiritual guidance to those in need. Her dedication to helping the destitute earned her the 1979 Nobel Peace Prize, and in 2016, she was canonized as a saint by Pope Francis. Mother Teresa's extraordinary story began with a name, Agnes Gonjaboyaju. Born in Skopje in 1910, this humble beginning was the foundation for one of the greatest humanitarian figures of our time. At the age of 18, she left home to join the Sisters of Loreto. At the tender age of 18, Mother Teresa left her home in Skopje, Macedonia to join the Sisters of Loreto. Her parents, both Albanian, were supportive of her decision, and she was sent to Ireland to study at the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary. There she learned about Catholicism, teaching and nursing. She eventually became a nun, changing her name from Agnes Gonjaboyaju to Sister Teresa. After spending several years in Dublin and India, Teresa experienced what she called the call within the call. In 1946, she left the Sisters of Loreto and began dedicating her life to helping the poor. This mission would eventually become the Missionaries of Charity, which is now an international organization with thousands of volunteers helping those in need around the world. In recognition of her work, Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. Years later, in 2016, she was canonized as a saint by Pope Francis. Today, there are more than 4,500 missionaries of charity who follow in Mother Teresa's footsteps and continue to provide aid and support to those most in need. In 1931, she took her religious vows. At the age of 18, Agnes Gonjaboyaju left her home in Skopje, Macedonia to join the Sisters of Loreto in Ireland. It was here that she took her religious vows and changed her name to Sister Teresa. She was inspired by the teachings of Jesus Christ and wanted to dedicate her life to serving others. Sister Teresa traveled to India in 1929, where she began teaching at a school for impoverished children. She was deeply moved by the suffering and poverty she saw in India, and it was here that she experienced what she called the call within the call, a calling to serve God through service to the poor. In 1950, Sister Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity, an order dedicated to helping the destitute. For decades, they provided food, clothing, medical care, and education to people in need all over the world. In 1979, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her work. In 2016, she was canonized as a saint by Pope Francis, further cementing her legacy as one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Today, there are over 4,500 missionaries of charity around the world continuing Sister Teresa's mission of bringing love and hope to those who need it most. In 1946, she experienced what she called the call within the call. Mother Teresa experienced a profound spiritual calling while on a train ride from Calcutta to Darjeeling in 1946. It was during this time that she felt an inner prompting, which she later described as the call within the call, to help the poorest of the poor. She was convinced that it was God who was calling her to work with the destitute in India. She left her convent soon after, and became a teacher at a girls' school in Calcutta. But she never forgot that inner call, and 2 years later, she ventured out into the slums of Calcutta to provide aid and comfort to the sick and dying. She started an open-air school for slum children and began taking care of those who were dying in the streets. The work she did in Calcutta inspired her to establish the Missionaries of Charity, a religious congregation dedicated to helping the most destitute and needy in India and around the world. Her calling propelled her to extraordinary heights of selflessness and service, and today, the Missionaries of Charity are active in more than 130 countries, caring for some of the world's most disadvantaged people. In 1950, she founded the Missionaries of Charity. Mother Teresa had a strong call to serve the poorest of the poor, and in 1950 she founded the Missionaries of Charity. This order was dedicated to serving the hungry, the naked, the homeless, the crippled, the blind, the lepers, all those people who feel unwanted, unloved, uncared for throughout society, people that have become a burden to the society and are shunned by everyone. This order was based on 4 vows: obedience, poverty, chastity and free service of the poorest of the poor. Initially there were just 13 members of the order, but it quickly grew in popularity, and today there are over 4,500 members in more than 133 countries. Mother Teresa and her sisters devoted their lives to serving others with great love and compassion and set an example for us all. In 1979, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Mother Teresa was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979 for her humanitarian work. She was recognized for her tireless dedication to helping the poor, the sick, and the dying around the world. She devoted her life to serving the destitute and giving hope to the oppressed. Her acceptance speech included the words, "I accept this award in the name of the hungry, the naked, the homeless, of the crippled, of the blind, of the lepers, of all those people who feel unwanted, unloved, uncared for throughout society, people that have become a burden to the society and are shunned by everyone." Her acceptance of the award solidified her place as one of the most beloved and respected humanitarians in history. It also highlighted her commitment to justice, peace, and love for all humanity. Despite facing numerous hardships, she never ceased in her pursuit of helping those in need. Mother Teresa was a symbol of hope and kindness throughout her lifetime, and her influence continues to this day. There are over 4,500 missionaries of charity around the world. Mother Teresa's organization, the Missionaries of Charity, has spread to 131 countries and operates over 4,500 facilities. These facilities include hospices and homes for people with HIV/AIDS, leprosy and tuberculosis, soup kitchens, orphanages, schools, counseling programs, and other services. The Missionaries of Charity have become known for their compassionate work in some of the world's most poverty-stricken areas. Through their presence and outreach, they have provided countless individuals with medical attention, education, spiritual guidance, and basic necessities. Mother Teresa was a believer that God's love could heal even the most broken of hearts. She believed that the mission of the Missionaries of Charity was to bring comfort and joy to those who had been forgotten by society. For this reason, she spent her life devoted to helping others and inspiring those around her to do the same. Her legacy will continue to live on through the thousands of missionaries of charity that remain dedicated to serving those in need all over the world. To get other undiscovered secrets, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you.